So what does prison life look like for Mr. El Chapo? Well, we have with us former warden of a Supermax facility, Robert Hood. Robert, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Glad for being here.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's a pleasure to have an expert like you. So let's break it down. There are 100, I believe, 20 plus federal prisons, but I believe there's a very limited, if maybe only one Supermax facility that he can go to. I believe you've kind of narrowed down where that facility will be. Is that right?
No question. There's 122 federal prisons in the United States. Some are camps, some are low security, medium security, and some are penitentiaries. But at the end of the day, there's only one Supermax, the federal Supermax that replaced Alcatraz.
And where is that, sir?
It's in Colorado, Florence, Colorado.
Okay, and so it's your opinion that that is where he's going to land, in Florence, Colorado, at the Supermax federal system there. Is that correct?
Correct. One sentence on June 25th, the Federal Bureau of Prisons will look at his escape background, his violence, his access to money and friends, et cetera, et cetera. And I've done this. I know the system. You do the math, it would be, it's not going to happen any other way. He's going to the Supermax.
Okay, what does life look like for him in a Supermax facility, or if you can, the big difference between a Supermax facility as just a maximum security prison? Are there extra precautions in terms of escape, more isolation? What does it look like for him?
Sure. There's plenty of lifers, and I assume he's going to get life. But there's 4,700 federal inmates in the system today. And those 4,700, most of those are walking around right now. They're going to school, they're going to work, they're going to church, whatever they're doing. When you get a guy with El Chapo's background, he will not be walking the compound. That's why he's going to the Supermax, the ultimate of all prisons in our country, not just local, state, and federal. It's the ultimate of all prisons. So he'll be on a complex. There's 4 prisons behind this gated area. But the Supermax, again, one of 4, about 2,500 inmates on the overall compound. But the Supermax can only hold 490. And there's only 407 today, so we never fill it. We only pick the cream of the crop to go to the Supermax. His day, if he was able to see it when he's being brought in, there's 6 gun towers, an abundance of razor wire around, staff in vehicles, 24 hours a day going around. And right next door to the Supermax is a penitentiary, federal penitentiary, with another 6 gun towers. So there's plenty of gun towers, plenty of outside dealings.
When you get inside, Warden, what does his daily life look like? Is this the kind of facility like a John Gotti would go to? Like, what is he in a cell? Is he locked down, or is he allowed to move around?
No, he'll be locked down for 23 hours a day in a 84 square foot cell, 7 feet by 12 feet. So again, it's tough love. It's like the system has thrown up their hands and said, guess what? Enough is enough. He will be in the cell 23 hours a day for the rest of his life. He will not have access to other inmates. If he does go out, it's his choice for the 1 hour. It'll be in a caged-in area. He basically walk around in circles, get a little daylight. And the way it's designed, just the way excuse me, let me shut that phone. Just the way the place is designed on 600 acres in the Rocky Mountains, let's be frank, it's designed so he can't even see the mountains.
Sir,
he's not really seeing the sky.
As far as we all know, these guys go in there. How do the other prisoners and guards view him? Is he going in with celebrity status, or is he at risk of being targeted?
Well, again, the nature of the place doesn't make him at risk, first of all. He's never going to be in contact with other inmates. But, yeah, he's the man. You know, he'll come in, it's like a wax museum, the shoe bomber, the Unabomber, spies, gang leaders, etc. But, again, many of those folks, they attempted or they committed some serious crimes, but nobody out here is caring about what occurs with them. They're throwaways, if you will, from their own systems. This is the man who has the means, the background, the whole 9 yards. So he's coming in the door with something they would all like. So they will praise him in a way. And but the point of it is the government will keep him away from other inmates because of that.
Yeah, so what about the guards? I mean, how do they respond to him? Is there a risk? I hate to ask it, but, we are human beings and we are failed in that. Is there a risk of bribery or special treatment? Or he obviously has access to a lot of money and a lot of contacts out there.
Sure. Well, before being a warden, I was the chief of internal affairs for the Bureau of Prisons, so I can tell you that does occur, unfortunately, within the system of 38,000 employees. So yeah, when you're making 45,000 a year, or 50,000 a year, and there's someone coming in with the kind of money El Chapo has, yeah, without question. And remember, I mentioned this is an isolated prison. Normally, lifers and people doing long-time sentences, once they move to an area in the United States, it's very common for their family members, loved ones, to try to move to that area. In this case, I wouldn't be concerned about the family members, but I wouldn't be surprised if a plan is already in place to move some people to Colorado.
Yeah, so Warden, let me ask you this. I'm going to go there. Will he have access to family members, and will they be able to visit him? Will he have even friends? Can they visit him? How does that work?
Good point. Once he's designated to the Supermax, they will decide whether he gets a law that's called a special administrative measure. We call them SAMs. It's under the United States law. What they can do is the Attorney General and the Bureau of Prisons, they basically apply this prescription, if they want, and I think they will, to a person that can still impact the society, destroy buildings, do their criminal enterprises, whatever. Now, here's the deal. If he gets the SAMs, which I think he will, they can say, you will not have visitors, to include family members. They can say, you will get a newspaper, but the newspaper will be 30 days old. You'll have a TV set. By the way, they all have TV sets. It's a black and white, small little $100 TV set behind Lexan glass. You'll get a TV set, but you're not going to watch. You clearly are not going to watch your program or any live program. You're going to watch the History Channel. You're going to watch something that's not newsworthy, if you will. And that includes, those kind of restrictions include, in some cases, the fact that you may never see another inmate. You may never talk to another inmate. So in order to comply with that law, we have placed dozens of inmates in that status, normally terrorists, but we put them in that status. And when you think about, death sentence versus that kind of a setup, you question whether one's better than the other. When you're not allowed to see another inmate for your whole time, you can't even see them. You can't recreate. You're in your cell, away from everyone.
It sounds like he's facing very austere circumstances. So let me ask you, with a guy like this, who was on top of the world, if you will, quote unquote, but a person who was used to bribing officials and widespread corruption, murderous guy on top of this criminal enterprise, how do they fare under those austere circumstances? Do they mentally and emotionally go through a lot with that?
I'm not a psychologist, but as the former warden of 4 different prisons, I can tell you this. When you're a 61-year-old man, as El Chapo is, and possibly doing a life sentence, he stands out in a different way. Some of the inmates who lived under a bridge, or another inmate who had access to some kind of a reason for blowing up people, like the Unabomber or something, they all have their missions, if you will. In this case, it's going to be hard for him because he had everything a man would want for the most part. And now to go into not just a prison where he's going to walk around and enjoy the rest of his life. Most lifers accept their life sentence. For him to be walking around and having 23 hours a day in a cell, a 7 by 12-foot cell, and possibly under these administrative measures, no privacy at all. I mean, he's out of the 180,000 federal inmates we have, I guarantee he's in the top 10 now. He'll be watched every single day. And again, this is my opinion. I'm retired, but I can tell you almost with a guarantee, no matter how good he is, no matter how he works with the administration throughout the years, they will never put him on a normal compound. They'll never let him be around other inmates because of his influence. And with that in mind, that has to wear on you. I don't care who you are, because you're going right into cold turkey versus adjusting and being allowed to eventually believe that you'll have some freedom. This is truly cutting off the head of the snake.